Could Bill Belichick be the next head coach of the Washington Commanders? A Patriots insider seems to think so, and I'm going to let you know what he said here on today's edition of the Commanders Report. And then also, yes, there are more trade rumors here. I know we've been beating the dead horse here over the last couple of weeks, but yes, there are more Chase Young trade rumors, and we're going to be covering them on today's show, so make sure you stick around. But before we get into today's action, Giants Now, our Giants channel here at Chat Sports, has challenged the Commanders Report to a sub-battle this week. And right now we are trailing Marshall Green and Giants Now. They got 426 new subs this week. We're currently at 412. And Marshall Green told me today when I walked into the office that he has a message for the Commanders fans. And here it is.
What up, Commies fans? Marshall Green from Giants Now here. And I just want to let you guys know that the Giants, we may be 1-5. We're about to mop the floor with you guys this Sunday. We're not only beating you on the field, we're also going to beat you in the subscriber battle. We're picking up more subs. Look, Commies suck, Giants on top. F you.
Let's pass them and let's take the lead for good, and let's beat them off the field as well as on the field. Marshall Green's talking a big game. We are going to silence him here. And so if you want to help us win this week, make sure you join our family and click that subscribe button right now. Now let's get into today's news and rumors action, starting with Patriots head coach Bill Belichick, where Mike Girardi, a Patriots insider there in Boston, says that the Commanders could be a leading candidate to get Bill Belichick if he ends up getting fired in New England this offseason. Of course, current head coach Ron Rivera would also have to be replaced here in Washington, but here is what Girardi had to say on Belichick potentially coming to the nation's capital. Bill Belichick still wants to coach. I don't think he'll want to go out this way. I think he'll want to coach. Like I said, I don't think you'd get much for him in a trade, but there are teams. Sure, I think the Commanders would be a team. Now, for me, man, it's way too early to be talking about this stuff. I mean, goodness gracious, we are in week 7 of the season, and we're already talking about rumors about a head coach switching teams in the offseason. I mean, this is just way too early for me in terms of the speculation. But, even then, like if we're going to be talking about potential Ron Rivera replacements here as the next head coach of the Washington Commanders, I think the number one guy on my list is already in the building. Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator, I think has done a fantastic job with Sam Howell and this offense. He's really done a great job working with what really is a bad offensive line, right? Not very talented O-line. Pressure's getting to the quarterback. He's done a great job at cultivating a system here that works around that, and he's taken a guy like Sam Howell, who had legitimate concerns coming out of the University of North Carolina, and has transformed him into what I think is a legitimate franchise quarterback in just one offseason with him. I think Eric Bieniemy could be that guy, and I think he's got the mentality that you look for and a head coach in the National Football League. I mean, maybe he's not the most modern head coach. You look at guys like Sean McVay, some of these other guys, they're more player-friendly coaches, whereas Eric Bieniemy's more hard-nosed, put your nose to the grindstone type of guy, likes to yell at players, hold guys accountable. It might be an old-school approach, but it seems to be working here in Washington. If you're going to replace Ron Rivera with somebody, if I was Josh Harris, the owner, and I'm picking my first head coach as my tenure as the new owner, I'm looking at Eric Bieniemy before I'm looking at anybody else personally. But let me know, between Bill Belichick, I know he's a 6-time champion, and Eric Bieniemy, which guy are you taking? I think I'm taking Eric Bieniemy right now, but let me know what you guys think. Would you rather take Bill, type BB, or would you rather have EB, type EB down there in the comment section? And this is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. And I know, guys, not this again. Chase Young is once again in the rumor mill, where nearly every single sports publication that you can find on the internet, on TV, whatever, they are listing Chase Young as one of the top trade candidates in the National Football League. And here are the updated odds for the next team here, for Chase Young's next team. Right now, the Chicago Bears are the favorites at 2-1 odds. The Detroit Lions are in second place with 3-1 odds. San Francisco is there at 4-1. The Eagles are at 6-1. And then the Baltimore Ravens at 8-1. And speaking of the Baltimore Ravens, Pro Football Focus is Brad Spielberger had this trade idea for Chase Young, where he had the 2 third-round picks, both in 2024 and 2025, in exchange for Chase Young. This is what Brad Spielberger from Pro Football Focus had to say about potentially trading Chase Young to the Ravens. You can make a legitimate case that this trade is way too much and also too little. It's arguably too little because Washington could, in theory, extend fellow edge rusher Montez Sweat before the franchise tag deadline and then place the tag on Young. Young and Sweat also share representation, and every player benefits from reaching the open market. So there's no real reason to entertain an extension on one player just to free up the franchise tag for the other player unless the team is willing to pay an exorbitant price. Washington really backed themselves into a corner here. Finishes up here by saying, as always, a coaching staff / front office that may be fighting to keep their jobs can be averse to letting go of premium talent, but this move makes too much sense for the long term of the franchise, and perhaps new owner Josh Harris puts his thumb on the scale. Now, coming up here, I'm going to let you know what I think, whether the Commanders are going to keep Chase Young and Montez Sweat, or whether they'll trade one before the trade deadline. But first, I want to tell you about our sponsor today at Prize Picks. And if you want to spice up your game days this NFL season, Prize Picks is going to be perfect for you. Prize Picks is a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game. And you might be asking yourself, how does it work, Jack? Here's how. You pick 2 to 6 players, and if they'll go for more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. So let's take a look at my entry for Thursday Night Football tonight. I've got the less on pass yards for Derek Carr. I've got more on the rush yards for Alvin Kamara. He's also on my fantasy team. And then also I got the less on Travis Etienne when it comes to the rushing yards. If you want to get in on the action as well, check it out now at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a deposit match up to $100 today. At Prize Picks, you aren't competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks. With Prize Picks, it takes less than 60 seconds to make your picks. So get started right away. You could even get your picks in before Thursday Night Football tonight. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS at prizepicks.com/CLNS for a deposit match up to $100 today. Now, in my opinion, if you can financially make it work, you should do whatever is in your power to keep both Montez Sweat and Chase Young on this football team, right? You look at the combination that those guys bring, it's absolutely fantastic. But we have to acknowledge the reality here that the Commanders might be forced to trade one of these guys here, especially if Josh Harris sees this situation and he's like, Ron Rivera, front office here, you guys got to end up trading one of these guys. He gives them a kind of a non-choice choice there. And if it comes down to that, it's going to be a tough choice, right? Chase Young and Montez Sweat both bring different things to the table, where you look at the comparison right here so far this season. I think Montez Sweat is more of a better run defender. You can see that right there with more tackles and more tackles for loss. But I think Chase Young currently is the more impactful pass rusher so far this season. Yes, Montez Sweat has more overall sacks, but Chase Young has 11 more pressures, and he's top 5 in the National Football League in total pressure. So he's affecting the pocket, and he's even getting quarterbacks to get away from him, and then Montez Sweat ends up cleaning up the sack because of Chase Young's pressure. And because of that, you can see the Pro Football Focus grade there is about 10 points higher than Montez's right now. They're both really good players, don't get me wrong, but Chase Young's impact as a pass rusher, I think, is something you definitely don't want to give up, and I don't think Ron Rivera wants to give that up. If you're going to do this, man, I think you got to do it right. If you're going to end up trading one of these guys, I think they're both extremely valuable players, so you're going to have to get the compensation that they deserve here. I think at least a second-round pick is what the Washington Commanders need to get here when it comes to trade compensation for either Chase Young or Montez Sweat. Personally, I'd ask for more if I'm trading Chase Young, just because he's younger, the potential is higher, and personally, I think that Chase Young, the potential that he brings as a number one pass rusher is probably what's going to keep him here in Washington long term. Now, let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. I know this is like picking between your children here. It's kind of like a Sophie's Choice kind of situation, but let me know. If you had to choose between trading between Chase Young or Montez Sweat, which guy are you sending elsewhere? Type CY if you're trading Chase Young somewhere, or if you want Montez Sweat to be the trade candidate here, type MS down there in the comments. For me, I'm trading Montez Sweat, and as much as I love Sweat's ability to defend the run, he's arguably, he's probably a top 3 run defending edge in the National Football League today. But this is a passing league, and you got to be able to affect people in terms of having a number 1 edge rusher. I don't really see Montez as a true number 1 edge rusher when it comes to the pass rush. I see him more as like an elite Robin, an elite number 2, whereas Chase Young is the type of guy that I see as a potential number 1 guy moving forward, and I'm not willing to part ways with that at this point. And now before I go here, I do want to extend my congratulations to Jamison Crowder, the punt return man here for Washington, for winning NFC Special Teams Player of the Week. Give it up for JC here, number 83. Get in the comment section right now and congratulate JC down there in the comments. You never know if Jamison's watching this video right now, man. So if he is, let's show him some love down there in the comment section. Spam 83 as many times as you want to congratulate Jamison for that awesome impact that he had last week versus the Falcons. And that'll be it for today's show, Commanders fans. Thank you so much for all of your support. And then also make sure you click that subscribe button, because not only can we beat the Giants channel here at Chat Sports in total subs this week. You guys heard Marshall Green earlier. This guy's an absolute clown. He's calling you guys out. We can't have that happen. But also, trade deadline is coming up here, just days away at this point. We're going to have you covered with any move that Washington ends up making. If Chase Young gets traded, if Montez Sweat gets traded, we're going to have a video for you guys breaking it all down. So do me a favor, click that subscribe button if you want wall-to-wall coverage on your Washington Commanders.